And we can cross now to our sports editor, Simon Harding, in Doha. So, Simon, we could hear you there on the tape saying you were just doing your job. What exactly happened there?
Well, it all broke out when Iranian supporters, which you saw in that footage, wearing the T-shirts "Women, Life, Freedom," were about to go live on air with an Italian broadcaster under pressure from pro-government Iranian supporters. The person tried to take a selfie of the people who were harassing her, and from there it all broke out. The phone was thrown into the air, landed right next to me, which I was able to return to its owner. The owners were then escorted away by Qatari police inside the inner perimeter of the stadium for their safety. But as you saw, they were very reluctant to stay with the Qatari police, saying that they didn't feel safe with them. And it's a theme that we've been hearing throughout our stay here in Qatar, that Iranian supporters who are pro-democracy, who are pro-women, life, freedom, do not want to stay with the Qatari police, don't trust the Qatari police, are fearful of the Qatari police. What followed afterwards is, as I was filming, one of the Qatari officers stopped me from doing so. He pushed me. He then escorted me away from where the Iranian supporters were, and proceeded to take a photograph of my accreditation, to which I immediately went to the FIFA office and made a deposition, more than anything to ensure that I'm still able to work here. It's not an isolated incident, that journalists have been harassed whilst doing their work. So all very tense, and it all boiled over. There were other scenes as well, captured by my colleague on the French channel, Cédric Ferreira, of a father actually kneeling down on the ground and encircling his children, protecting his children with a security cordon around him, with fans who were fighting, punching each other. But it was very much a group of 30 pro-government Iranian supporters that tried to interrupt an interview of two protesters who were simply wearing a T-shirt with "Women, Life and Freedom."
Well, and unfortunately, as you pointed out, this is not an isolated incident there in Qatar. There's been a real effort to crack down on any kind of political speech. Is that what you've been able to observe, Simon?
Yes, absolutely. And what's concerning is that it's really been going in a sort of crescendo pattern throughout the week. During the England-Iran game, which was the first game in Group B, we saw the Iranian players refuse to sing the national anthem. And in the crowd, there were Iranian supporters who were freely wearing their Women, Life, Freedom shirts. They also had the original, traditional Iranian flag, which has a lion instead of the Tawhid Islamic symbol in the middle, who were very numerous in the crowd, even booing the anthem. So that was the first chapter. The second chapter, which was Wales-Iran, the second game, a lot of the fans were saying that they had been harassed during the first game, that they weren't allowed to go in with their T-shirts, that flags had been taken off them, even though the Women, Life, Freedom T-shirts have been officially allowed by FIFA inside stadiums. We noticed during the Wales-Iran game that there had already been clashes between Iranian supporters, but also between foreign supporters, people from Australia, people from England, who were wearing T-shirts in solidarity, and which angered these pro-government Iranian fans. We spoke to one of them on that occasion, who said, "Look, this is very much an issue for Iranians. We don't like to talk about it. It's between us, and we're going to sort it." As we were waiting in the build-up for the game against the United States, Cédric Ferreira and I, my colleague, were in the Souk Waqif, and we noticed what can only be described as a mob, really, of Iranian fans trooping through the souk, which is the original bazaar here. Where they were holding on to their trumpets, making a lot of noise, and then it culminated and escalated with what we saw yesterday after the game. But to finish on a positive note, we do know that the two supporters in that footage are on their way home, and they are safe.
Certainly some concerning images that you were able to share with us. Our sports editor, Simon Harding. Simon, thanks a lot for that. We're glad you're okay.